So while most people have been enjoying Mario Kart World for the Nintendo Switch 2 as the main launch title for the system, except for DSP. He hasn't been enjoying that game online. Many people thought it was strange, myself included, that there was not a traditional single-player experience available for the Nintendo Switch 2 at launch. Traditionally speaking, Nintendo always launches with a single-player narrative game that is the focus of the launch of the system. But Donkey Kong Bonanza came out a month after the initial release of the Switch 2, which kind of was an interesting decision why it didn't launch alongside of Mario Kart World. Now, Donkey Kong games are awesome. I love the 2D ones. Donkey Kong 64. I mean, it sucks. Like, if you take off your nostalgic glasses, because I never had nostalgia for this game, you could see that it is not a good game. So I was a little bit concerned about how Donkey Kong would fare in his second 3D game. Well, the reviews are in, and they're pretty positive. They're pretty high. They're actually quite a bit higher than I initially thought that they were going to be. So in today's video, I want to go over the reviews for this game. We're going to talk about what critics liked about it, maybe what they didn't like about it. There will be no spoilers in this video. I'll be using Donkey Kong footage that is already readily available all over the place. But yeah, let's check out some reviews for Donkey Kong Bonanza and see if it's a barrel of monkeys. I don't know. I didn't have a freaking thing for that. As you can see here, Donkey Kong Bonanza is a 79 critic reviews, sitting at a 90, a Metacritic must play. I don't know what this Ready or Not game is. Maybe it's kind of like Payday. I hope the Fuji song is in the game. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you and make you want me. Such a good song. Anyways, a Metacritic must play. And I think the most interesting thing to me about this is how green that bar is. Because if you know anything about Metacritic, there's usually some mixed reviews, some negative reviews. Based on every review that has come out thus far for Donkey Kong Bonanza, there are no mixed reviews. There are no negative reviews. And I know what you're saying. Well, if it's a Metacritic must play, you know, it's a 90. There's probably not going to be any negative reviews. And I mean, maybe, but you have to know, like, remember, the thing about video games is video games are very subjective. You know, there's always someone who either wants to be contrarian, go against the grain, or maybe they just genuinely did not like the game as much as other people did. I'm sure there are games you could think of that are highly critically acclaimed games that you're just kind of like, I don't really like that game. A game like Donkey Kong 64, a perfect example of that in actual motion. But jokes aside, like, you know, usually there's always like a couple reviews that are kind of like the outliers, but considering that there doesn't seem to be any outliers here, like, I don't know, man. This could be something a lot more special than I thought it was going to be. COG Connected. Bonanza is pretty much the pinnacle of Donkey Kong I've been waiting for since the 90s. The game is so good, it changed my whole outlook on Donkey Kong as a character. He was always sitting second string, at least for me. Now, Donkey Kong has been bumped up to A rank, and it's all thanks to Bonanza. The game is beautiful with an incredible soundtrack, seamless mechanics, relentless pacing, and brand new levels of Nintendo polish. Mario Kart World was a great introduction to the Switch 2, but Donkey Kong Bonanza is the first can't-miss game to come to the platform. You'd be a fool to pass on this one. We have IGN Brazil, Inverse. I do have to say, and this is not a shot at anything or anyone, I do find it strange. You know, there's what, 83 critic reviews, I believe this said, 79, 83. It says 83 here. But, like, you don't send it out to YouTubers. Like, I honestly feel like some of these websites are kind of smaller websites, and a YouTube video can be a lot more entertaining for your target audience than something like a website article is. But Nintendo is a very traditional company. I get it. You know, they are set within their ways with certain things. Every time I'd add a new layer, I'd immediately ignore the story objective and spend a half dozen hours just smashing around things like a toddler. Like, tons of 10s here, dude. Even IGN. Remember when all Nintendo fans hated IGN and, like, Digital Foundry because they dared to say something negative. I'm sure that narrative is now going to continue. And then the Nintendo fans will not be glazing IGN, places like Digital Foundry, talking about how great they are now because they said something that they wanted to hear instead of actually hearing the truth. That's not how any of this works, right? Right? The leader of the bunch is finally back to kick some tail in Donkey Kong Bonanza, a brilliant successor to Super Mario Odyssey, and a smashing return for a classic Nintendo character. It was a bold choice to build the Switch 2's first 3D platformer around Donkey Kong instead of Mario, but it's proven to be the best decision Nintendo could have made. Donkey Kong's satisfying, expressive movement and powerful, dynamic abilities create a truly groundbreaking adventure. The ambitious, destructible layers of Underground World are densely packed with satisfying collectibles, abundant charm, and clever challenges that never seem to run out of smart ideas, even long after the credits have rolled. Bonanza is a constant crescendo across its 20-hour campaign and beyond, with puzzle platforming concepts that only grow richer as Donkey Kong and Pauline dive deeper toward the planet core. Every element comes together in a complete harmony to create Nintendo's first Switch 2 masterpiece. Like, bro, that is some very high praise. Like, that is some very high praise when it comes here. It just seems like, oh, look, Gfinity. I know a lot of people are going to Gfinity. I'm sorry, Gfinity, if you're watching this. You know, Nintendo Insider, they're definitely going to not be biased towards a first-party Nintendo game or anything like that. The Daily Star. I know a lot of people are reading the Daily Star. Now, I kind of want to get down to some of the lower scores. And I say lower, but, like, really how low are they truly going to go? I guess, well, I mean, I guess I can't sort it by that. Why can't I sort it by like the lowest review? We could just scroll down here. Some to be determined. Radio Times with an 8 out of here. And, you know, there's a couple fruit looking bruised and disappointing. Okay. The Guardian, not sure that it has the same legs, whereas that game blossom in rich post-credit endgame, Donkey Kong lives more in the moment, moving ever forward, chewing through new ideas, and never stopping to pulverize the roses. Come the game's epic climax. You know what you're doing there, Guardian. You know what you're doing there. He smashed through concrete, rubber, watermelon, ostrich eggs, entire Donkey Kong Country homages. Come out with the spoiler! Glitter balls, even the NPCs he's trying to protect. If the weight of the Nintendo Switch 2 does lie on his shoulders, this is just one more tool to bash a hole in the universe. His appetite for destruction is infectious. So, I mean, generally speaking, like, everyone seems to really like this game. The 6-axis, why does that sound like a PlayStation website? I mean, there's always going to be 8s. The Saudi gamer, you know, I can't make that joke. I can't make that joke. Great online. That's a great one. What the hell are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? But yeah, the game does seem awesome, and I'm happy. You know, I'm happy. I want something new to play on my Switch 2. And like, yeah, you know, I've been playing Mario Kart World. I've been playing the Tony Hawks, and you know, I thoroughly enjoy those games, but I want to see something a little bit crazier. Yes, there are going to be some performance issues when you are smashing things. Like I said in the previous video, is it necessarily the end of the world for this game? Clearly it's not. My whole concern with that was I just don't want this to be a common thing. I understand you're doing voxel destruction. Highly destructible games tend to have frame rate dips from time to time, even on the other platforms. I just don't want that to become a norm, something that the Nintendo Switch 2 fan base just starts to accept as like, oh, well, you know, there might be some performance issues with this. Like, you know, make the most of the hardware that you have, maximize the tools you have at your disposal. And if there are one-off situations where you're trying to do something just completely different and completely crazy, if there is a little bit of a stutter here and there, it's not the end of the world. But I'm really looking forward to this game. I have it preloaded digitally on my Nintendo Switch 2. I'm sure it doesn't go live till like 3 a.m. my time, so I won't be playing it until tomorrow. I was going to do the New Zealand thing where you have a New Zealand account and you get it early, but I don't know. I'm getting lazier at my old age here. But let me know in the comments section down below. Has Donkey Kong Bonanza's review scores impressed you? What did you have it kind of at a Metacritic score as? You know, mine, I thought it was going to be like an 85 and 86. So to see a 90, I think that's pretty damn impressive. And this could end up being one of the best games of 2025. I mean, if Astrobot can win Game of the Year, maybe Donkey Kong Bonanza could as well, unless Nintendo potentially has something else up their sleeve for the rest of 2025. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.